The WHAS11 night team begins right now. All new tonight, a driver is shot while driving on the outer loop. Tonight, do you find that you are in more and more tense situations on the roads in Kentuckiana?
Tell me about that. I can see it happening over here, yeah.
And tonight, a former veteran traffic officer, now the assistant chief with St. Matthews, describes what to do if you're in a confrontation on the road. And then new tonight, JCPS is getting closer to hiring a search firm to find a new superintendent.
It's my job to stay out of it and do my job, which is to be superintendent here for the next 6 months.
As the city's top civil rights leaders say, they need to be involved in that choice. Right now on the WHAS 11 Night Team. We begin right now with developing news here on the WHAS 11 Night Team. A man wanted for murder in Jeffersonville was found and arrested tonight. It is our top story, and thank you for joining us a little late tonight. I'm Doug Proffitt. His girlfriend, who was reported missing, was found with him. Police in Jeffersonville, Indiana, have been looking for 19-year-old Anthony White since last month, when a 34-year-old man was shot and killed on Copp Avenue. His girlfriend, Andrea Peoples, was reported missing by her mother and last seen with White. Today, Jeffersonville police said they arrested White where his mother lives at the Greenwood Apartments. Peoples was found safe with him. White is now charged with murder. It is cold and clear right now all across Kentuckiana, but we've got a bunch of rain headed our way. Once again, it'll be the second time this week. Is it going to be a soaker tomorrow? Let's check in real quick with Chief Meteorologist Ben Pine. And Ben, what are the chances we're going to hear thunder again tomorrow like we did just on Monday?
Yeah, not a bad chance that we'll hear some thunder, but thankfully no severe weather with this. It's just going to be really gross as we head out the door tomorrow morning. There you can see the rain already starting to move into our western counties in the WHS 11 viewing area. Most of this moving into Louisville over I-65 after midnight tonight. You can see it right over the top of us as we get started tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. So weather impact alert, watching out for puddles and ponding of water on the roadways, maybe some localized flooding, especially for some areas off to the south. A little better chance of some of those thunderstorms along and south of the Bluegrass and Western Kentucky parkways. And then we begin to dry out for tomorrow afternoon. So you may want to allow some extra time out the door to hit those wet roadways out there. And then next up, we're talking about some colder weather on the way for this weekend as winter begins. We'll look at those chillier changes coming up at our Weather Impact Team forecast.
More top local stories all new right here tonight. A driver is shot today while driving on the outer loop toward I-65 in Louisville. Police say it appears the victim was involved in a collision with another car on the outer loop just before the shooting happened. It's the second shooting on the road since the December 6th road rage attack in southern Indiana. Got 2 people arrested. So tonight we're talking to drivers and a veteran police commander who also spent time in the traffic unit. WHAS 11 Night Team's Clarice Shaley and photojournalist Levi Hammer have the story.
It's always busy. It's busy pretty much all during the day.
Outer Loop Road.
Bumper to bumper traffic most of the time.
To the point where I don't even like coming out at certain parts of the day.
The high congestion, a perfect opportunity for a crash. A site where police believe one man was in a crash moments before being shot on I-65.
Literally, like at least a couple times a week, something's happening. Somebody's getting hit. There's some kind of little minor accident where people being, rushing. So
it's not surprising with the amount of people that travel those roadways, and plus you add the fact that it's Christmas and people are tense.
St. Matthews Assistant Chief Eddie Jones used to work the area.
I rode that area.
When he worked for Jefferson County Police, he cautions people to plan for traffic.
Leave early, make sure you got plenty of time to get to where you want to go. Drive defensively.
If you find yourself in a similar situation
where you're faced with an aggressive driver, I think one of the most important things is don't escalate the situation. You want to try to de-escalate it. Don't lay on your horn, throw hand gestures. Don't make it worse than it already is.
If you are in a situation where you're on the road and you do feel uncomfortable, it is okay to get authorities involved.
Call 911, have the police start that way. That way they can get there and try to de-escalate the situation instead of you trying to do it.
Even with the traffic.
No, I think it's just the area in general.
Travelers keep coming.
With the malls being here, Sam's, everything's around here, so it's a lot of people. Yeah, there's a lot of traffic.
Police don't know if the shooter and the victim knew each other, but the victim is expected to survive. In the Okolona neighborhood, Clarice Shaley, WHAS 11 Night Team on your side.
And if you happen to see anything on the outer loop earlier today, you're asked to call Louisville Metro Police, and you can call them anonymously at 574-LMPD. Two separate crashes on Dixie Highway had all the lanes closed for hours tonight. One man died and another is fighting for his life in the hospital. Metro Police say that this all happened less than 30 minutes apart. The first happened at 6 p.m. when police say a Jeep was driving on Dixie, and tried to turn left into Kroger. The Jeep pulled in front of a motorcyclist. The driver was thrown off the motorcycle and was not wearing a helmet. He is at the hospital in serious condition. Then just 20 minutes later, police responded again just south on Dixie Highway. There, a man in a wheelchair was hit and killed. The driver stayed on the scene. No charges are expected in that collision. The eye-popping purchases that kept many of you watching the Jamie Null case day after day are now being sold off to pay his restitution and pay back taxpayers. Judge Larry Medlock has appointed an auctioneer to sell luxury cars, Rolex watches, and guns. It looks like Jamie Null will be paying his restitution through a variety of different assets, including the $75,000 he paid in bond earlier this year. Prosecutors turned over an itemized 12-page document today of everything they've seized during the Null investigation, including 83 guns, dozens of men's suits, belts and shoes, 35 vehicles, shipping containers, and more. A court-appointed auctioneer says many of the cars need work.
It's going to take a little while to get these cars done. I can't get these cars done overnight. I think with being Jamie Null's cars, there's going to be some people there that will buy them cars.
Anything that was purchased, by the way, by or for Misty or Casey Null is not being sold yet, as their cases are still pending. Not mentioned today, the Null family property, several homes. They were never seized as evidence. U of L Hospital says 20 cars were broken into yesterday during the heavy rain. LMPD confirms that they have 5 break-in reports from the Peace Hospital parking lot. That's on Newburgh Road, right across from Bellarmine University. University Hospital officials confirmed that at least 20 vehicles were broken into in their lot. Peace Hospital did get extra security into the area today. Metro Police say that if anybody else was a victim, they need to call them and report the crime to this number. That would be U of L Police at 502-574-5673. 2 young people are in custody tonight after a shooting that happened today at a busy West Louisville store. LMPD says a man was shot inside the Shorty's Food Market in the West End at 17th and Broadway, which at the time was full of people. Officers have at least 2 juveniles in custody. They believe they have some connection to the shooting, but they don't know if they fired the shots. Officers believe more young people are involved. The victim is expected to survive. Tomorrow, the state of Indiana is expected to execute its first inmate in nearly 15 years. Joseph Corcoran of Fort Wayne, Indiana, will be put to death after spending 25 years on death row. Corcoran was convicted of killing 4 people in 1999, including his brother, his sister's fiance, and 2 of their friends. The outgoing Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb announced last summer that Indiana would resume state executions. Last week, the Indiana Supreme Court denied a stay of execution, allowing his death sentence to stand. Indiana is one of only 2 states that does not allow anyone from the public inside to witness the execution. All new right here tonight, the Jefferson County School Board plans to hire a search firm in January to find the replacement for Marty Polio. And the city's top civil rights leaders want a say in the final choice. WHAS 11 Night Team's Alex Dieterer and photojournalist Emma Gefter covered the meeting, which also included an important update on restoring bus routes that were cut.
Yeah, we're getting real close.
An anticipated update on restoring bus routes to JCPS, magnet, and charter schools.
So I think we're down to our last few. So we'll probably do something in January with that.
The district was aiming to have 60 certified TARC drivers on the road by October, a timeline that has since been pushed back. With only a semester left as JCPS superintendent, Marty Polio is focused on setting up his replacement for success.
I would really like the new superintendent to be able to come in, hit the ground running, and not have to make some real tough decisions right off the bat.
As for the search for the next district leader continues, local organizations are watching the process closely, including the new Louisville NAACP president, Raymond Burse.
There's a new leadership in terms of the new superintendent be coming on board, new board members coming on board, and then we got the study commission that's looking at the possibility of breaking up JCPS.
I spoke with the leaders of the Louisville branch of the NAACP who tell me one of their priorities moving into 2025 is being a part of the decision-making process and choosing the next JCPS superintendent.
The NAACP must be involved in that selection.
Board Chair Corey Scholl said that's the plan. A community advisory committee will be formed to give organizations, parents, residents a say in the next school leader.
We want to make sure that we bring everyone along on this process, and so we want to provide as much transparency as possible and be as open with this process as we possibly can.
Right now, the board is still selecting an executive search firm to lead the national search for a new superintendent, which is set to be chosen in January.
Well, I think that the board is staying on top of its work. We are on target as it relates to our timeline.
Scholl says once the firm is selected, then the board will be able to start reaching out to the community and stakeholders for their feedback. In Louisville, Alex Dieterward, the WHAS 11 night team on your side.
Marty Polio also said tonight that he cannot recommend reinstating routes for some magnet and traditional students until they have all 60 of those TARC bus drivers driving school buses, as has been the plan. New tonight, we want to take you to New York. The accused shooter and the killer of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson indicted today for murder. A New York grand jury upgrading the charges for Luigi Mangione to 1 count of first-degree murder and 2 counts of murder in the second degree, including 1 as an act of terrorism. Here's ABC's Melissa Adon.
A New York grand jury charging Luigi Mangione with murder as an act of terrorism nearly 2 weeks after the Midtown New York shooting. The accused killer of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson now charged with first and second degree murder for the high-profile hit. Prosecutors say the first-degree murder charge, which was upgraded, reflects a belief by the grand jury that Mangione killed Thompson as an act of terrorism.
The intent was to sow terror.
Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg says the murder fits squarely into the enhanced murder statute the legislator had in mind.
This was a frightening, well-planned, targeted murder that was intended to cause shock and attention and intimidation.
Mangione's mother had reported him missing last month to police in San Francisco. The NYPD now sharing when investigators reached Mangione's mother, she did not rule out her son could be the killer. Mangione's lawyer commenting on the case last week on CNN, floating a possible insanity defense.
You have someone who is a valedictorian of his class. He was brilliant his whole life. He comes from this great family. I mean, something changed, right? Significantly, something changed.
The 26-year-old Ivy League graduate has become a social media folk hero, alarming police.
Let me say this plainly. There is no heroism in what Mangione did. This was a senseless act of violence. It was a cold and calculated crime that stole a life and put New Yorkers at risk.
Mangione could waive extradition from Pennsylvania to New York during his next court appearance, scheduled on Thursday. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
In the wake of the New York killing, police officials in New York and elsewhere have described an increase in threats aimed at corporate leaders, including wanted posters in Manhattan that showed the faces of other executives.